Hello and welcome back to the Natural State Update. I'm Christina Munoz and I hope you all had a happy Easter and remembered the reason for the season. This is our third week for the Natural State Update, which is a digital news platform bringing you relevant information that impacts Arkansans by former broadcasters who are still passionate about informing the public. So what do you think about what we're doing? We want to know. Email us at info@naturalstateupdate.com. And if you'd like to be a part of this because you believe in our mission, or if you're a business owner that would like to be featured on this platform, just send us an email. Okay, let's get to this week's news you can use. The deadline to register to vote in Arkansas's primary election, which is in May, is Sunday, April 24th, so be sure to get that done if you aren't already a registered voter. Also want to remind you that we are still in the prime of severe weather season. And in Faulkner County, one of the warning sirens is not working. So they're encouraging all residents in the county to sign up for Code Red alerts. The Code Red system is used to send notifications about emergency situations, including severe weather. So we've included a link to that site in the comments of this post. On the morning of Saturday, April 23rd, the Little Rock Zoo will be the site for the capital city's Recycling Day. They'll accept plastics, glass, bicycles, e-waste, which is anything with a power cord except fridges and window AC units, and they'll even shred documents. Visit littlerock.gov for more details, and we'll of course include a link. And it's a big week for the Arkansas Women's Hall of Fame. They will be inducting 3 classes of women since they haven't had an event since the pandemic began. To learn more about these incredible women, go to arwomen'shalloffame.com, and we'll also include a link in the comments. On to our first story of the week. The horrific images coming out of Ukraine are a sober reminder of the cost of war. For most of us, the only combat that we'll experience is what we see on our TV screens. That wasn't the case for Ben Grimes of Little Rock. He is an Army veteran who's using what he witnessed to fuel his new mission. Ann Jansen has more.
Ben Grimes is a pretty busy guy.
I literally just got out of a dance call.
After all, he's a husband and father. He's an Army veteran who was twice deployed to Iraq. He has a day job at L'Oreal, and he's launching a new theater company. And it's that theater job that's currently commanding his attention and taking center stage in his heart. Enter the Riverside Actors Theater, a twofold initiative to entertain and to serve fellow vets.
Our tagline is theater with a purpose. So we do shows and outreach for veteran communities and at-risk communities and talk about social issues inside in the community and use theater to kind of talk about those social issues and also do outreach with veterans.
There are 2 sides to Grimes' story. A Parkview graduate who studied acting at a conservatory. He worked in regional theater and then spent a decade as an actor in New York. In Act 2, he joined the Army and experienced active warfare.
We're not, as human beings, programmed to see that and not have some type of trauma. In the military, oftentimes tough guys, we don't talk about our problems, and the theater can actually be a way to get through some of that armor.
Veterans on stage and behind the scenes, staging productions that are relevant to their history and lingering struggles, hoping each performance helps chink away at the stigma surrounding mental health issues. This is where Grimes came to explore his idea of using drama as therapy. While a student here at the Clinton School of Public Service, he focused on using performing arts coupled with group meetings to combat the PTSD and depression that so many vets live with long after they come home.
The trauma has won, and so that's why I wanted to start this mission to begin with. Theater that does more than entertain. It's not about selling tickets, but about maybe creating some change in the community.
And his dream of transforming lives through the theater is finally coming to life.
It almost feels unreal because it's been, so many years in the making and so much, so many discussions about it and papers written about it, and to finally actually have an event and be able to say, we're bona fide and legit.
He hopes by shining a spotlight on the veteran community, the audiences will walk away with a better understanding of what the actors experienced as servicemen and women, and in turn become advocates for more attention on their needs.
Veterans, commit suicide at a, almost a double rate to the civilian population, and so if we can, just take a percentage off of that number, go from 22 to 19, that would be amazing. It'd be amazing. That's a number, but really, if we can help people go through their lives and not let something that they experienced 20 years ago rule their life and give them a better quality of life, then mission accomplished.
For the Natural State Update, I'm Ann Jansen.
Thank you, Ann. If you are a veteran or a theater supporter, or if you just want to help with this cause, you can donate by going to riversideactorstheater.org. That's theater with an R-E, and we'll include a link in the comments. From theater to sports, and another example of when passion collides with community, this time in Saline County. Two guys with a shared love of collecting sports trading cards found a way to share that interest with the next generation. Jordan Howington has the story.
I've been collecting since I was about 4.
Aaron Moulton has turned his hobby into a business with his pal Michael Williams.
You're chasing that one diamond in the rough.
The two recently opened Zeteo Sports Cards in Benton, now sharing their love for collecting, buying, and trading all kinds of cards with kids in the community.
It's exciting, but as soon as you don't pull anything, then it starts getting sad.
Barrett Pettit is learning the business with a growing collection of his own.
For this one, it's a jersey piece. So, and if it says RC, then it's a rookie. But a jersey piece is like the person's jersey. So it could be worth a lot.
A lot. Moulton and Williams say someone who recently came through their doors tore open a pack to find a gem.
We actually had a card opened at this location 3 weeks ago that's worth $85,000.
The value of each card comes down to two things: condition and rarity. When they come out of a box just like this, they go into one of these for protection. And then the card owner learns the fate of just how much their card actually is worth.
And we're doing independent review through the shop as well, and that gives everybody an opportunity to review their cards, see the exact condition of that card, and it'll relate very closely. I can't guarantee anything, but it will relate very closely to those major grading companies.
For the kids, going to Zeteo's is fun,
I just like collecting and spending money.
giving them a social outlet outside of a world surrounded by technology.
I would rather play video games because you're looking at a screen all day.
While Aaron and Michael teach the kids how to buy and trade cards, they strive to be leaders too.
Seeing them and trying to help them is the greatest thing that I could do, and it gives them something that, like you said, it keeps them off the streets.
For the Natural State Update, I'm Jordan Howington.
Wow, one card worth $85,000. Incredible. Jordan, thank you. Now, the card packs range in prices. Some cost hundreds of dollars, others less than $50, giving everyone a chance to play along. We'll include links to their social media pages if you'd like to learn more, or if you'd like to get in the game. Any coffee drinkers out there? Well, if you're in Central Arkansas and like to support locally owned and operated businesses, then you might already know about Zeteo Coffee. But what you might not know is that the mission behind the biz was about way more than just Java. Zeteo Coffee offers all the amenities that a specialty Java joint should, but the element of faith is what makes this coffee hotspot a bit different.
Zeteo is a Greek word that means to crave or to seek out, to search for something.
And that's exactly what John and Trina Mitchell were doing when they were feeling compelled to trade in the corporate world for the entrepreneurial hat.
We were really impacted by community and connection. And so for us, Zeteo was really, that was the basis that it was built around. It really was, I hate to say this, but it really wasn't about coffee. It was really about community and connection.
The Mitchells say from conception to completion was about 10 years for Zeteo Coffee.
At the end of the day, You know, whenever you've done all you can do in yourself and you feel like you've done the work, you've made the plans, you've been a good steward of the idea or the dream that God gives you, sometimes you just have no other choice than to wait. And when it's God's timing, it's amazing how quickly things unfold.
That is part of the faith journey for us, is doing our part and focusing on the what and letting faith and the Lord move us towards the how. And so that's been a big part of our journey, is that trust piece of letting the Lord do his part.
The community element certainly obvious in how they originally started Zeteo nearly 7 years ago.
Doing a crowdfunding campaign to initially launch this location, which is totally a community coming together to support something. But then over the years, and over especially the last couple of years, with a pandemic and the way that has changed the world, we've still continued to see our community show up and support this place.
And now they're hoping the community will once again join with them in their next vision.
We're opening a drive-through in the Spring Hill, Greenbrier area. It will be drive-through only. We do hope to kind of build that out where there's maybe activities there on the weekend, whether that be a way to support local artisans or farmers market, or so there's some build out there that still has to happen.
Another God-given dream that they hope will come to fruition with the help of their community.
We're not asking people to, quote, fund our business. We're asking them to invest in a vision or invest in a dream, because in reality, while the little donations and I wouldn't say donation, but the little investment that they make into our vision, that just helps us get started. So we really have to be creative about how we put together funding for that. And as we know, as a lot of people know, it's not cheap to start a business. So we do our part, and then we ask our community to rally with us to help us finish it out. So that's kind of the heart behind it.
The funds that we raise in these crowdfunding campaigns by no means completely fund the whole project. A lot of times it's enough to get us going, or it's enough capital to sort of create sort of a safety net and maybe just add a little extra, for the unforeseens. But yeah, it involves our community, and it connects them to something that they're going to drive by every day.
For the Mitchells, it's all about following their faith journey and letting their one true boss rule their lives and their businesses.
Obedience is really important. And if he calls you to it, he'll see you through it, right?
The fundraising campaign still has a couple of weeks left, so if you'd like to invest in this faith-filled mission, we've included a link in the comments. According to recent surveys, Arkansas overall is not super savvy when it comes to being educated on financial matters. That's why we now go to Scott Inman.
The housing market has been flying high, but will higher mortgage rates cause the market to crash and burn? We explore that in this week's Fastest 4 Minutes in Finance. Hello again, I'm Scott Inman. Well, anyone who's tried to buy a house in the past year knows how difficult it is to even find one. And if you do, you will likely be paying way more than you like to pay. It is a seller's market. One of the factors driving demand for housing has been low mortgage rates. Well, that variable changed earlier this month as 30-year mortgage rates jumped to their highest levels in more than 10 years, following the Federal Reserve raising the short-term borrowing rate. That has some people claiming we have a housing bubble that is about to pop. Well, we believe that is likely an overly sensational take on the situation. Will higher rates cause some people to rethink buying a home? Sure. But rather than a bubble bursting, we should probably think of it as some air being let out of the balloon. Let's put some math behind it. Several months ago, a home buyer would pay about $1,347 per month on a $300,000 loan if they got it at 3.5%. Well, this month, a buyer would be locking in a rate of about 5%, which would increase their monthly payment by $263. Now, for some, that will cut into discretionary spending enough to change their decision. But certainly not all people will be frightened away over that kind of an increase. If that buyer is a first-time home buyer, they may really think twice now. However, if a buyer is also a seller, they can offset some of that monthly increase in mortgage rates with existing home equity. And here's another factor. Get this, in 2021, all cash sales were roughly 30% of all U.S. home purchases. One of the reasons? The rising median age of repeat buyers is now 55. These buyers are coming to the table with a higher net worth. If borrowing costs continue to go up, we might see more people buy with cash. And then there's the inventory. There's still not enough homes available for buyers. According to Redfin housing market data, inventory of residential homes is at all-time lows. In fact, at the current sales rate of existing family homes, the entire inventory would be depleted in less than 2 months. Will home builders catch up with demand? That's hard to say. Lack of labor and the high cost of raw materials are weighing on builders, but the increase in home prices are certainly a big incentive. And finally, let's look long-term. Demographics support the housing market. According to the latest data from the National Association of Realtors, the median age of first-time buyers has risen to 33. If first-time buyers are waiting longer, they likely have more money thanks to wage growth and savings rates. Bottom line, higher mortgage rates could cause buying to slow down. But other factors are still driving demand, and that should continue to keep realtors and bankers busy. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Scott. That does it for this week's episode of the Natural State Update. And for our closing encouraging word, since we just celebrated Easter, I think it's only fitting that we end with the beginning of Luke 24:34. He has risen indeed. For the Natural State Update, I'm Christina Munoz.